Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So the last update about Unfortunate Love was how Ayush decided to expose Malishka during Oli, because that is the only way Rishi and Lakshmi will come back together. So let's continue from there. Sonia sees Malishka dressed in a sari and she appreciates her look and says, "You are so hot." Malishka asks her to praise the sari and says it is gifted to her by Rishi. Ahana says Rishi's choice is always good. Sonia says that is why Rishi chose Malishka and left Lakshmi. Rishi tells Sonia that he will not bear it if anyone says anything against Lakshmi, and he asks Sonia to mind her tongue. Rishi says to everyone that even if my marriage happens with Malishka or someone else, then I will still not bear anything against Lakshmi. Neelam comes there. She asks everyone to sit and says that the keys wants to go to the rightful place. She tells Grandma that you have given me the house keys when I came here and I asked you to give it to Karishma, but she also asked me to handle it. So now I will give this key to Malishka once she does the Grand Peresh as my daughter-in-law after her marriage with Rishi. Grandma says to Neelam that even Lakshmi was your daughter-in-law, but you did not give the keys to her. Neelam says Lakshmi was not suitable. Grandma says that she doesn't think that Malishka is also suitable and says to Malishka that you cannot compete with Lakshmi, and she asks her not to feel bad. Malishka says to Grandma that I felt bad and says that there should be tasks between Lakshmi and her and says she is ready for any task. Ayush says I thought you are useless, but it is good that you are ready for a competition with Lakshmi. Lakshmi says this competition is not needed because I am not the daughter-in-law of the house, so she doesn't want to do any competition. Neelam says Lakshmi is right and I agree. Competition happens between daughter-in-laws, but Lakshmi is not the daughter-in-law of the house. Ahana says right now, both Lakshmi and Malishka are not the daughter-in-law of the house. Ayush says one was the daughter-in-law earlier and the other wants to become daughter-in-law. Malishka says let the competition happen, and she tells Neelam that she doesn't have to give the keys to her because Lakshmi will soon leave and she can have the keys then. Malishka says that she wants this competition because she doesn't want anyone to say that Lakshmi is competent than her. Neelam says that this competition is not to prove your competency, but to prove someone's incapability, and Neelam looks at Lakshmi. Rishi asks Malishka not to do this and says Lakshmi will win this competition, and everyone is shocked. Sonia comes back home and she takes something. She says that she searched for it with much difficulty and she hopes that Malishka doesn't do any mistake and everything should happen as per her plan, and says then I swear that Lakshmi cannot stay in Rishi's life or in his memories and his art, and she will be out of everyone's life forever. Malishka says to Rishi that you say that you love me and you are saying that Lakshmi will win against me. She says I want to clear everyone's misunderstanding that Lakshmi is the best by proving that I am better than Lakshmi. Virendra asks Malishka to take it positively and she should improve herself, but she should not lower others in the process of improving herself. Malishka says that she wants to improve on herself, so she wants the competition to happen. Ayush says he wants to suggest something and says that every year we do puja, and he asks Malishka to make prasad for the puja. Sonia says to Ayush that you know well that Lakshmi cooks well and Malishka doesn't need to cook, so Malishka cannot make any prasad. Malishka says to Sonia that she will do the competition and says let everything be in Lakshmi's favor and says I will win eventually. She says that Lakshmi is not her enemy, but she doesn't want anyone to say that Lakshmi is the best. She says she wants to walk on Neelam's auntie's footsteps and she will prove herself to be the best for them. Malishka asks Lakshmi if she is right, and Lakshmi says I did not say anything and you have decided everything yourself. So whatever you wanted is happening, and in the future too, whatever you want will happen. Lakshmi says I don't have any right to talk and I did not talk even when I have the right, so why should I talk now? Malishka says to Lakshmi that this is your tactics and your cleverness and says everything will be reviewed from this competition. Ayush says to Malishka that if you lose the competition, then what will you do? Malishka says if I lose, then I will do whatever Lakshmi says. Ayush says I have given this task and I am the referee, so I will decide what you will do if you lose, and Malishka looks on. Malishka thinks that I don't know what this Lakshmi's puppet will do. Ayush asks if Malishka is calling him puppet in her heart, and he asks that why are you stressed? Malishka says I will do whatever you say if I lose, and Ayush thinks that even a chef cannot defeat Lakshmi's sister-in-law in cooking, and Malishka, who doesn't know how to boil water, wants to compete with her, and Ayush smiles. Karishma tells Malishka that you know Ayush, He is tried by Lakshmi and he will do everything to make Lakshmi win. She says if you lose, then Ayush will ask you not to marry Rishi. Malishka says she knows, but she doesn't want anyone to say that Lakshmi is the best. She says she will defeat Lakshmi and she will prove that Malishka is the best. She says I will win, and Karishma asks her to sit. Ayush tells Lakshmi that he is going to egg-6 her and he wishes her good luck. Later, Ayush calls Shalu. Bani teases Shalu and says Ayush is eagerly waiting to call her. Shalu asks her to pick the call, but the call gets disconnected. Ayush thinks to apply lover's color to Shalu and says this is a art color and says friendship hug is different too, so he would color Shalu with beautiful colors tomorrow. Ayush gets Shalu's call and he thinks that he will tease Shalu and then he picks the call. Shalu says she would end the call. Ayush picks the call and says don't end the call. Shalu asks Ayush to tease her tomorrow, but he should tell her what is going on. Ayush tells Shalu that there is a good news. Shalu put the call on speaker and asks Ayush to talk, and Ayush tells her about the competition. Lakshmi is making rangoli. Grandma tells Lakshmi that the rangoli is beautiful. She says the temple is also decorated well. Lakshmi says Malishka decorated the temple, and Grandma asks Lakshmi to win the competition and says the prasad should be good because it is for good, so the feelings should be good. Grandma says Malishka will make prasad to win and he will make prasad for God. She says all the best and she goes, and Lakshmi looks on. Shalu tells Ayush that the cooking competition between Lakshmi and Malishka is a good news and says that Lakshmi will win. Bani asks Ayush that what will he now tell Malishka to do when she loses. Ayush says that it will be a surprise and Shalu asks him to ask her not to marry Rishi. Ayush says my Shalu, my butter alu, and asks her to enjoy tomorrow first. Shalu says to Ayush that our first plan is cancelled because it is risky. Ayush says it is not cancelled and says that they have to trap Malishka so that she can never come out of their trap. Shalu says then Malishka's name will not be mentioned in that house again after their plan. Bani says she wants to hear lullaby and Ayush says that he will sing. Shalu asks Ayush to sing. Ayush sings a song and a song plays in the background and Shalu and Bani falls asleep. Malishka comes to Rishi and asks if he loves her or he loves Lakshmi. Rishi recalls his love confession to Lakshmi. Malishka says you have praised Lakshmi again at the dining and she asks Rishi to answer. Rishi says when you also do something, then I have praised you. And Malishka says if any husband praises another woman, then the wife gets jealous. Rishi says to Malishka that wife should understand. Malishka says she wants to prove that she is the best and she asks if Rishi will want her to win or if he wants Lakshmi to win. Rishi says whoever makes good prasad will win. Malishka says you should say that you want to see me winning, but you are lecturing me. She says after tomorrow, only my name will be taken and Lakshmi's chapter will be closed, and Malishka goes out from there. Malishka sees Lakshmi coming and she comes to her. She says you pretend to be great and you pretend to be the best, but you are the best in bad things, best in cleverness, best in betrayal, best in conspiracy, best in lies, and you are also selfish. Malishka says you are best in separating two loved ones. Lakshmi says I am best in all these bad things according to you, and she asks if Malishka also wants to become best in bad qualities. Malishka asks Lakshmi to shut up and says tomorrow you will know whose place is here in this house. Lakshmi says she doesn't want to take any place here and says but I will not ruin my name. She says I do what I determined to do, like I saved you from the fire. Malishka says I am also like this. I had determined to get Rishi and I got him. Malishka tells Lakshmi that her voice and her loved one's voice will be closed once she wins the competition tomorrow. Lakshmi says she never thought that people think of her to be great and says my happiness lies in my family's happiness. She says if you think of your family first, then even your loved ones would increase. Lakshmi asks Malishka not to win to make her get defeated, but to win the family members' love. She says if you think that you will make me lose, then I will never lose. She says tomorrow is the day of your respect and your place in the house, so use it wisely. Malishka gets angry and she goes to a room and says tomorrow will decide my place and respect in this house and says I will be waiting for tomorrow now. Lakshmi comes to her room and wipes her hair. The water splashes on Rishi's face and he says that he was missing monsoon and he asks her to do it again. Lakshmi turns and she sees that Rishi is not there and it is just her imagination. Lakshmi comes to the kitchen for the competition and Malishka is also there. Rishi gives Malishka the semolina jar and he asks Lakshmi if she needs his help. Karishma comes there and says nobody should help anybody and says all the best to Malishka. Rishi says to Karishma that this is not fair, and Karishma and Rishi goes away from there. Malishka takes the semolina first and put it in the pan. Lakshmi also put the semolina in the pan. Malishka takes the oil and put everything in the pan and she says sorry. Lakshmi takes the pouch and put ghee in the pan. Malishka thinks that today, Lakshmi's color will vanish from her face after she loses. Shalu and Bani ask Neha that where is aunt. Neha says she went out. She asks that how is she looking. Bani murmurs like monkey. Neha says she has applied oil on her face, her hand and her hair. Lakshmi says we will play with bright colors. Rano comes there with sweet and says the sweet is for the obre. And Shalu says you did right. Bani asks Shalu that did you take what we wanted to take? And Shalu says yes. Lakshmi and Malishka looks at each other in the kitchen. Malishka asks if Lakshmi is scared that her prasad will be good, and she tells Lakshmi that Neelam auntie told her how to make it, even though she already knows how to make it before, and now she would win, and Lakshmi looks on without saying anything. Karishma tells Sonia that everyone knows that Lakshmi makes tasty food, and now she is scared for Malishka. Sonia says whatever Lakshmi makes becomes delicious. She says Malishka eats acts on her own feet by agreeing to compete with Lakshmi in cooking. Karishma says we have to do something, else we would also lose with Malishka. Neelam and Virendra do the Abhishek of gods. The priest says now the placement should be done. Lakshmi adds less sugar in the prasad for grandma. Malishka is about to taste it, but Lakshmi stops her and says it cannot be tasted without offering it to God. Malishka says I will win even though I don't taste it, and says I know it. Lakshmi says to Malishka that if you have made the prasad for God, then it will be good. Malishka says your lecture will be useful when you lose outside. Mukesh comes there and says grandma called you both, and Lakshmi goes. Malishka looks at Lakshmi's prasad and says it looks perfect, but I will win. Lakshmi comes out and sits with grandma. Karishma comes to the kitchen and adds sugar to Lakshmi's prasad. She says today, Lakshmi will lose, and says Malishka has made prasad and it will be good. She says after today, Lakshmi's name will not be taken in this house, and she goes out and sits for the puja. Shalu and Bani comes there with Rano and Neha, and Ayush get happy to see them. I was supposed to upload this video yesterday, but unfortunately I had already edited it, but the rain was falling and there was no way I could do voiceover yesterday. So that is why I'm uploading it today. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.